Hello there, Joe Cox Jr. and my beautiful wife, Jonna Sue, is
Hello.
here today. So we're going to talk to you today. We're going to talk to you about a little bit more about our marriage. Y'all, um, a lot of people have really been very kind and very sweet about their kind words regarding our marriage and all. And what we want to do is help show you and let you know that that type of a relationship is out there. If you feel like, hey, I've been going dating this person and hoping that they'll change or do this, and I think that's one of the things. And you correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong here. So back when we were dating, you would date somebody hoping they would be the right person or they would eventually change or become the right person or those feelings would start coming or something of that nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we date somebody that we might be attracted to, but something is just off. This is what one of the things I learned, and then I'll let you give some feedback. So what we're doing today is talking not only about our marriage, but about how is it that we came together, and what is it that others I would recommend to do in order to prepare to find that one and only, that one that you just connect with, that you know. For instance, our marriage, I know she's the right one for me. The most beneficial person here in this physical existence, she's right. But I also believe a deeper level of the spiritual existence because we're so connected on the spiritual level. And that does not mean we all always believe exactly the same thing. She's free to believe and assess things as she needs to. It's never controlling. So the whole thing is just supporting the person, but being in a consciousness level of always wanting to learn. A lot of couples I've found they get together and one believes one thing and the other wants to believe this, and they want to try to get the other person to save them or something in order for them to believe the way you do. So I've just believed that once we are okay with ourselves, and it really goes back to self love and understanding and wanting to find the truth, wanting to be the best person that you can be. Remember, you were born the perfect you, and your job is to become the best you. So many people are going around comparing, trying to be like other people, and it doesn't work for them. They can't figure out why. It's because you're not that other person. You are you. And so it's your job to investigate and try to figure out what is it that I need, mind, body, and spirit, to create my own wholeness. And I believe that's part of the secret. But getting back to our subject of going out and trying to find the right person, that's where a lot of people, I'm going to go find them. Well, what I believe, because I was not even looking, I just pretty much kind of was at a point to where I knew what I wanted, I knew what my consciousness level was, but something was not right in my life. And that's where I was really struggling when we reconnected. As most of you know that we reconnected right after I opened a thrift store for the homeless in order to help, to try to give back, to try to figure out and find out who I was. I didn't want any money to play a role in finding who I was. I've always done well financially when I got out there and I was able to bust it out. But I needed to find me. And I believe this is where so many people are trying to find themselves through things, through money, through this, through other people. What do you think about that?
Hmm.
You agree? Um, and I believe once we understand that once we find ourselves and get that balance, then you're on the consciousness level. A lot of couples, so let me go back on this a little bit. A lot of couples I find, especially when they marry real young, a lot of them stay together 20, 30 years and all of a sudden go their separate ways because they're not growing together. There's something within their spirit or their souls that they're not growing together. And so I think that that's very important because we grow together. We always spend time together. We enjoy being out here together in nature. We take classes to try to advance our spiritual self, as well as trying to help me understand all the toxic past, and most of all, trying to learn what the life rules. There's distinctive life rules and life laws that apply to our life. Once we learn what those are, and I'm going to go over those, some of those in another video, but once we understand those are, you know how to react to every single situation in the most beneficial manner for yourself. So getting back to our beautiful marriage, um, is there any words that you would like to say? How did you prepare and what did you do in order to help us come together?
Well,
Besides just being your beautiful self.
well, Joe's right. I did spend time, looking for someone that would fit the bill, that would uh, be a partner in life with me, and us make each other happy, have a peaceful, happy marriage. And there was always a puzzle piece missing. Um, and some of those puzzle pieces were there were very ugly. So what I decided just to, you know, when it came to a point where I I was single by choice again, and I had my two wonderful children. It was just the three of us, and I decided just to work on me. I decided that um, I wanted to become my best self, and that whoever was out there that I was meant to be with or could be with, God knew where they were. I did not. So I decided just to just focus on myself with my core. I decided to, I had to forgive myself for mistakes that I had made. Um, I had to find peace within myself and become my best self, which means I worked on my relationship with God. I worked on my relationship with myself. I started taking better care of myself. I had a job that was extremely stressful, but I made the best of it. And I showed up and I did my best every day. And that's what I did because I wanted to be the best that I could be when that person or if that person came into my life that I should be with. I wanted to feel like I had my own center, that I was grounded in what I wanted to be, instead of waiting for someone to come along and make me happy. Because no one can make you happy. You make yourself happy with the choices that you make. That's what I found. I found that, you know, if I didn't have to live under the shadow or thumb of anyone, again, I was like, you know what? If I want to work out every night or every day, I'm going to do it. And I did. And if I want to listen to music, because when I was in that toxic environment, everything just kind of went flat. And I didn't enjoy music like I used to. I didn't do the things that I enjoyed doing. I didn't cook the way I wanted to. It was always governed by someone else that was not good for us. So that was very freeing for me and the kids. We were like, oh my gosh, we can laugh again. We can become, happy and joke around and have a good time together. And it was okay. And that was what I needed to get my sanity back and to learn to love life again. And that shadow, that cloud that was there began to lift. And I began to meet really sweet, good people that came into our lives. Because when you do allow yourself to just be with someone, just to be with them, it isn't helping either of you. And there are friendships, there are good things that can come into your life that may not come into your life. No, not good things may not come into your life because of that shadow, and people pick up on that. I had ladies come to me and say, I wanted to be your friend, but I couldn't stand to be around that person, around, and I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. And thanks for coming to me and being my friend now. But it was so, in order to prepare yourself for someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with, become your best self, whatever that looks like. And if you go and take courses, classes, there's free things online that you can learn about anything, um, to deepen your knowledge of things and to have respect for yourself in the choices that you make. Um, yeah.
Real quick, this channel is what she's talking about, and just to re-emphasize, this channel is about going deeper beyond just the mind and body. It is going to the spirit level, and because we're spiritual beings having a physical experience,
Yeah.
and I believe that's where so much therapy. I went to 6 therapists through the years, and they didn't do anything for me. And that was the 7th one that I realized it was in my spirit. And I never needed another therapist from that point because I figured out where it was. And then I went out looking for healing methods for my spirit beyond what's the most conventional out there.
Yep.
And I talk about it in the book about where we found the trapped emotions, and there's other aspects. But I'm going to go into more details on another video about all the different healing methods that y'all can check out and that sort of thing. But mostly today I wanted to just talk a little bit and let you know this is what I've told my wife through the years, since we've come back together, and we've talked. It's so funny because when we first got together, I have kind of a dry sense of humor. So at first she wasn't, because she came from a narcissist background and from a father and ex and that sort of thing. When I would say stuff, she wasn't sure how to take me.
Yeah.
And now
now it's
we laugh all the time because she gets them now. She gets my sense of humor.
Yeah, and I'll sometimes I'll throw a zinger out there, and he's like, "You sound like me." I'm like, "Yep."
She got me that time. So that's part of having a beautiful relationship, is always kind of doing things for each other unexpectedly, or keeping each other on each other's toes, but doing it in a kind way.
Yes.
Kindness unconditionally. We laugh from the time we get up to the time we go to bed. We're all the time laughing about something, kind of like life. You got to laugh to keep from crying.
Yes.
And it is what it is. But once you learn to accept life as it is, you understand how to process your emotions, belief systems, all these things. Life is so simple. That's why the name of the book's Life Made Simple. That's why we talk about it inside and out. I want to make sure that we make every single step very simple. And so I've had to go back, and I've kind of had to back down and say, okay, let's break this simple step down even deeper. Hopefully I can communicate it to you. But this is one thing I started to say. I told my wife, I said, for the ladies, for instance, if you want to find the right guy, start living the way you want to live when you're with that person. If you think you can party for 30 years and all of a sudden become that perfect person for anybody you're looking for, it's not going to be natural to you. It's not going to be conducive to who you are, and you're not going to be happy. He's not going to be happy. So what we try to do is we go out and we pretend to be our best self until we get married, and then all of a sudden we look at marriage as an end result. Now I'm married, now I can just be my sloppy self or whatever. I've seen this happen in other areas, not just from the ladies, but from the guys too. Narcissistic guys do the same thing to the ladies. So I'm just saying, same thing with the guys. You want that perfect lady that does so, you need to live that life. You can't go be hanging out in the bars, but yet you want to marry somebody that doesn't hang out in bars. That sort of thing. Live the energy level. You will attract what you are, not what you want. And that's one of the simple basic concepts of life laws, life rules. And once you understand, you just live your best self and be okay with being by yourself. Yeah. For 20 years, I was fine being single, but also I believe, my personal being, is that being single also limits you on certain things. So when we came together, since I really needed the connection of love because I never had it from a parent. Some people that grew up with parents with love and all could go on and be single their whole life and be fine with it because they've had a connection of love. I never had it. I never experienced it. And so this right here is just a game changer for me because that was an aspect of my life I needed to have. Whereas two people become one, and that's what we have done. It's it's not. It's so amazing because was it yesterday? Or this morning that I was thinking of something and she asked me and I'm like, I was just thinking of that.
Yeah, that
Because
happens a lot.
that does, because we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll mention something and she'll say, I just was thinking of that, literally. Um, I had a friend that passed away this last week and I've thought about him the last couple of days. I had talked to him in a year and just found that he passed away. And I'm like, okay, that's that connection to other people because I have risen my consciousness level to try to connect to other people. And so what it does, it helps you be aware. And this goes back to your internal guidance system. I'm going to do a whole video on that. I may do that today. A whole video on your internal guidance system. Once you are connected to that, you basically will never make a wrong decision. You're like, Joe, yeah, right. I'm serious. When you are connected to that superconscious, that higher self, you will always know the most beneficial decision for yourself, including marrying the right person, dating the right person. And I'm going to teach you other ways to check through dowsing and through your higher power. You have, keep in mind this, and I want to share this because we both came up in a church and a religion. And so the problem I found for us, I'm not going to say anything. If you like your religion and it is comfortable, that's fine. We're okay with that. Mm-hmm. But for us, religion seems to be more on the right or wrong, more about telling us how to live our life. Whereas I wanted to know the very core of what religion was found on, which is spirituality. So we go to the deeper level. If you look at it, all religion is created from spirituality. Well, what is spirituality? It is the core essence, our spiritual being, regulating our spiritual being and our wholeness. So, for instance, when we talk about our spiritual self, it's like the law of, you've heard the law of attraction, things of that nature. A lot of that is true, and that's where a lot of that comes from, the laws and life laws and life rules. However, how some of it is interpreted, I find to be in error sometimes. And what I'm trying to do, everything I teach you is something I actually have done. We attracted each other through, I guess, the law of attraction. However, there's other things that played a role in it too. Mm-hmm. And part of that is getting on the same consciousness levels, having the same desires. I talk about in the book, opposites attract, then also like attracts, like people attract. And I explain the difference. And that's a very good chapter in there because we talk about why we attract the opposite and why we attract exactly the same. So we are the same in so many ways and we attracted each other, but we also had the balance of opposites attract because that's the male and female yin yang
dynamics.
Yeah. Masculine, feminine type characteristics of the laws of attraction and the life, or should I say the life rules and life laws. So when you understand this whole everything was created in perfect harmony. The reason you might feel broken, the reason you might feel like I can't meet the right person is because you're out of balance. You're not broken. You never were broken. You're just simply out of balance. A lot of people walking around saying, I'm too broken, I'll never be fixed. Because so many areas of your life, in therapy a lot of times makes you even feel like you're broken when you walk in there. Because they're trying to fix your mind. Your mind will turn on itself. Your mind should never turn on itself. So if you're saying anything negative to yourself, that's another law, is keep your positivity no matter what. Keep in mind some things that we consider bad happening to us can actually be blessings in the long run. And I'm going to give you an example. One of the worst things that ever happened to me is realizing what my father did to me with taking the house. It plunged me to a very deep level of depression. But what it also did, it sent me to a location where, guess who moved to it? I moved to another town. I started the thrift store and just got away, and it forced me to get away from all the toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did, I ran from that, ran right into the arms of her.
Mm-hmm. And believe me, I didn't realize it at the time, but because I did build my relationship with God more deeply, and I would just spend a lot of time talking to Him, and I just knew in my heart that somehow things would be just fine. And I things just unfolded that I didn't even try to make unfold. Nothing was forced. Everything just fell into place. And I had not seen or talked to Joe in
Over 30.
over 30
Yeah.
years. But we both remembered each other, not knowing that each other remembered each other in a fond way. So, when that all unfolded, prayers were answered. His desires were being fulfilled, and he just didn't know it yet. But things happened to where, so there's a lot of times when you just have to trust it and make your own wise decisions, do the very best that you can to live your best life and be the best person within yourself that you can be. And trust that things will unfold and lead you where you're supposed to be. Sometimes if a certain position or job doesn't work out, maybe it wasn't supposed to. Maybe you are being guided on a different path or different direction or different position in order for your blessings and your desires to come to you in forms that you don't realize that's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. That's what happened with us.
Yeah.
So,
Let me just say one thing, because before we reconnected and before I learned more about the life laws, part of the problem is when something happened, I would say, oh no, when that door closed, oh no, everything's going to fall apart. I've lost control of my life. Today, when something like that happens, the door closes, I'm like, I wonder what the universe is trying to send me to now. And I start looking at other opportunities and things. And guess what one of those opportunities was? This channel. So a door closed, and I thought, maybe this is a good way to get my word out. Because I tried to get into personal speaking, and then the pandemic happened. It was just one thing after the other.
Large crowds, and everyone who heard him speak wanted more, and they wanted to book him in everywhere. And it was incredible. It was like, oh my goodness, okay, we got to catch up with this. We and here's how we're gonna do it. And it was great. And then all of a sudden, boom, something out of our control put a halt to it. And then, like Joe said, oh yeah, we can reach people still.
Yeah. And so during that time, I got back into real estate. So when that door closed, I got back into real estate, and then the next year I became the #1 agent in the office. And it's just, so I've learned, don't fight it. If something is not working out, dig down and say, why is this not working out? If you're dating somebody, I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to that says, I dated somebody for a couple months, or I married somebody, in 2 or 3 months I realized this was absolutely not the right decision. But yet they say, I'm going to keep working on trying to make it work. And that is so common. I will tell you, the information I have today, again, if I were to go back to my 30-year-old self or 20-year-old self and say, hey, check this, and this, not working out, move on. Don't try to change them. Don't try to, let it grow into something. If whatever you have, time will only make it greater. In other words, that's why I talk about marriage. If you marry somebody, if you're If it's okay, but it's not the best, and maybe you argue or fight, all that's only going to get worse. It's going to get greater. So it's going to become greater fights, that sort of thing. With us, our love was deep before we got married. So
Mm-hmm.
when we got married, our love has only gotten deeper.
Yeah.
So it's only gotten greater. So remember, wherever you are now, it will only become greater based on which direction you're moving in. And that's where you got to decide. If you're not happy where you are, then maybe it's time to close that door, prepare yourself to open another door, because the other door will come. There will be another door open.
Yeah.
That's just the way life works.
And
So
I just have to say, too, I was in that bad marriage for 17 years. I never should have been in it at all. But the gift of my beautiful daughter came from that. And so you take the best of what you have and you just continue to move forward and making things even better. I understand being or feeling stuck in a place that you just don't know how to get out of. But there is a way. Just trust whoever you believe in, whatever you call it. You just keep being your best self and you just keep moving forward and you just keep believing and don't give up. It from the time that I decided and that I made that decision very firmly, I did talk with my bishop, with my spiritual counselors and my people who wanted my best interest, and they gave great advice that you will know when the time is right. You will know. And it's true. It unfolded the way it was supposed to. And I was strong. I was kind but firm. And boy, I was firm when I had to be. Because when you're doing the right thing, everything good has got your back.
that's a good way to put that. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. It just kind of came out. But it's true. It's true. That was my experience. And there is no power like the good power of good things, good people, good angels, God, whatever you believe in, anything that's good, you will see miracles if you allow it. So, and being in a great marriage, and what makes our marriage great is that we understand each other. We talk to each other. Um, we don't make assumptions. We allow each other to say, "Hey, I'm really struggling with such and such today," and then we talk it out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something with him that I'm struggling about. It could be anything, you know. So, and he's very kind to do things the way I like them. You know, as far as, you know, just living life, like, you know, chores around the house, and he knows how I like certain things and I know how he likes things, and we we communicate. Communication
Mm-hmm.
is key. That is key. Don't assume that the other person is going to know what you are thinking. It's not. I mean, sure, we might do little things like, "Oh, I was just thinking about that," you know, but don't assume that that person's going to know what you're thinking. That's not fair to them or yourself, and it just causes heartache and aggravation.
I assume that she doesn't know what I'm thinking. Then that's the best way to approach it.
His wheels are always turning. I mean, he could be sitting still. We could be hanging out watching a movie or something together, or watching a comedy, and I can see him over there. His wheels are turning, and he's always um, thinking about how to make our lives better. And I, you know, us women, I don't know if it's just built in or what, but we have great gratitude for security,
Mm-hmm.
and security of all kind. And maybe that's just, you know, being the woman that wants to make a home for her and her husband and her family, to and then he provides the security for it. And that's just
Mm-hmm.
the way I'm built. I don't know about y'all, but but that means a lot to me. And
When after
yeah.
we got married, and I knew she hadn't had that, so when we wake up in the morning, I would just hug her and I'd say, You're safe and you're loved.
Yes. And it really helped. It helped me to heal. It helped me to heal because I didn't feel the right kinds of love, and I didn't feel secure and safe. Um, so yeah.
Okay. We're this is
We're
ran
kind of
over.
rambling now. We
Yeah,
can sit here and talk about this forever, but
I just adore it.
having love and respect for each other is key. Yeah.
So we're gonna wind it up for now, but thank you so much for all the kind words. I just want to give you one video here that where we're just kind of chatting and giving you some advice on our marriage and relationships, and we're going to be going into so many different aspects of it. And again, ask questions if you'd like me to or us to talk about something in particular.
Hmm.
But we really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe if you feel like this is going to be good for your journey. And we send you nothing but love.
Yeah, we do.
So
Yes, we do. I just, some of the comments, just all the comments are wonderful, and very touching, and they can even bring tears because they're just so kind and so sweet. And we want you to reach out to us, and if there's something that we're missing that we're not talking about, and because it's easy just to get on here and start talking, please let us know. And we're here for you, and we have so much love and gratitude for you. Thank you.
from our hearts to yours, we wish you nothing but blessings. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye now.